Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. So glad you're here today. Now today I've got this watercolored paper that's been laying around my desk for I don't know how long. And I've been trying to clean up scraps, so I'm going to use this and see what we can come up with. I have no plan here and I'm just kind of winging it. I have got this Cat Scrappiness fall foliage frame that I have not used. I just peeled it off and had to pull the sticky off the back of it. And I'm just going to run it through my Spellbinder 6 die cutting machine, and we're going to have a nice foliage frame for our 5x7 card base. Now this panel is not exactly 5x7, it's slightly under it. And so I'll have to, we'll have a little bit of white edge around our card. Because I've got a 5x7 card. I'm going to have a 5x7 card base. I'm actually going to make one. I don't do very many 5x7 cards. So I just cut it at 10x7, and I'm bringing in this Cricut trimmer, and I've got the scoring blade on it because I don't use it as a trimmer anymore. And I sometimes need a scoring blade that is bigger than my score buddy. And so I've just put that score blade in there, and I'm going to leave it in there from now on so it'll be handy for larger projects. Now here I'm just sizing it up, and I'm seeing that I'm going to have a little bit of a white edge on it. And now here I've kind of sped forward. I took the snow-capped holidays from Spellbinder's die and took all the little floral elements and leafy elements from it, and I die cut the rest of that watercolor panel with these pieces. I mean, I just used the inside of it and everything that I cut off around the edge and just tried to fit as much as I could out of that paper, just die cut out so that I could keep it kind of the same tone, all of my elements the same tone on my card. And so I've also got a little mushroom. I took a piece of that and ran it through one of those embossing folders that embosses and you can cut a tag out of it. I'll link it in the description box, but it had a little mushroom on it and it kind of messed up. It moved on my plates. And so I went ahead and fussy cut the mushroom out. So that's what that mushroom piece is that you see laying there. And I'm going to use it as well because I think it's super cute. Now I've got all my elements and I'm just throwing my scrap pieces of watercolor paper there. And we're going to start working on this. Now, I'm just showing you that this is the set that it came from. It's called Snow-Capped Holidays from Spellbinders. And I'm bringing in my embossing folder. This is my current favorite embossing folder. It's called Hand Drawn Lines. It's relatively new. I keep using it on my channel. Sorry about that. But I like it. Anyway, so I'm going to use it, and it's a little bit wide because I said this frame is not quite 5x7, and that's what I cut it to. So I'm just trimming it down, and I'm going to be able to layer these two pieces together. For this, I'm going to bring in some of those thin foam strips that I've been using, and these are the ones that are thinner than what I had previously used, and that I don't like these as well because they're messy. They kind of stick to themselves, and the backing strip comes off before you're ready for it to come off, and I don't know, I don't like them that well. So I'm trying to bust through these, use them up, and get them out of my craft room, and then hopefully I'll order the right ones the next time I need to get some. So I'm just going to pull the release papers off and get this laid down on my card base, and then we'll start kind of creating our focal image on this 5x7 card. Now I do kind of work toward the bottom of the screen most of the way, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize when I was filming I was doing that. I was trying to just catch some free time while one grandson was at preschool and the other one was snoozing. I was just trying to get a little free time and put together a card. And so now I'm using my magnet to just hold the corner of that 5x7 down so it'll stay shut as I'm laying this down on there. And I'm just getting it positioned on there how I want it. And then we're going to start working with all these little die cut pieces. And I did a couple of each of the different types of leaves, and I tried to do one in the darker, more orange color, and then another in the lighter, more yellow, lighter orange color. So we'd have some variation of color. Now here I've got the little tulip stems, and I'm laying the little tulip floral elements on top of them, the top layer. And I did the stem in the darker color, and I did the tulips in the lighter yellow and thought that it would add some dimension by having the two different colors there. And I'm just getting them lined up on there and layering them up. And some of these ferns have like some little pieces that need to be popped out. So I'm just using my pick tool to pop those out. And we'll get those little bitty bits out of there and out of the way. Now I'm going to try and start arranging it. Try and see how I want to position all of these elements so that they'll look good on my card. And I've kind of got an idea there. And so I'm going to start with the tulips, and I'm going to put them to the top and higher. And then I'm going to put the other pieces around it. I'll get this laid down, and then I will lift some of the flowers up to tuck the leaves under because it wasn't quite glued down anyway. It takes a minute for the glue to dry, especially when you've got an embossed panel there because you have all the raised areas. Now this is where I'm looking, and I think I want to lift those tulips up and kind of tuck these ferns in underneath them. So we'll just add some glue to them. And it wasn't gluing the way I wanted it to, so I'm just using some packaging there, and I made like a puddle of glue, and I'm going to run all these die cut elements through that puddle of glue so that we can get all of the little bits glued up and not make a mess on them. And we'll just keep doing that. And I'm just going to layer the leaves and the ferns on top of each other. And then eventually we'll add our mushroom in the center. So I'm just going to get all these pieces down, and I'm just trying to create some fullness there. Now this, I'm still eyeballing where I want my mushroom. Now this one I want to put a little bit lower, this fern. So I'm going to take and snip some of it away so it's not quite so long. And then we'll tuck it in, and then we can add our little mushroom. And I think that mushroom is so cute. And for the mushroom, I'm going to bring in some foam tape and just pop it up a little bit. Give it a little bit more dimension. Now, after I get this assembled, I will go back and kind of glue some of those leaves down on that frame because I'm afraid that when you go to put them in and out of the envelope, they'll bend and maybe tear. So I'm going to add little dabs of glue to it after I get done, and I'll get them to where they're not raised up too much, so we don't have to worry about that with our envelope. But I like how this is coming together. Now I just need a sentiment, and I've got that other strip of watercolor paper, and I'm just going to use it. So I'm going to bring in my Better Press, and I'm going to bring in one of the sentiments, and it just says Believe. And I'm going to lay it right on that center line on my Better Press so that I can line just this small strip up on there and make sure that I hit it with my, when I ink it up. So I'm using that line as a guide because this is just a small piece of watercolor paper. And I've got brown, it's a brown color, it's called Bark. That is the Better Press ink I'm going to use for this. And I ran it through my Spellbinder 6, and I've got my impression with my word Believe. And then I'm going to bring in the coordinating die and just put it down there, and we'll die cut it out, and then we'll have a small sentiment for our card. I thought about using a bigger sentiment, but the ones that I had in mind were just too big for this, and I thought I needed a smaller one for that open white space, and I really like how this turned out with the Believe. I'm going to bring some more of that foam strip in and just pop it up a little bit, and we'll get it laid down on our card. And I think it looks really pretty. I like that I used, the same tones on all of the elements. It kind of keeps it clean and crisp. And I really like how it looks. Now I'm going to bring in some embellishments. And I've got some orange and yellow embellishments on this little sheet here. And these are from Pink and Maine. And I'm going to use them and just kind of sprinkle some of those around the white areas. And then that'll finish off this card. I think it turns out really pretty. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, if you had this fall frame, what would you put in the center of it? I'd be interested in hearing as I was debating on what I was going to use, and then I came up with this idea. So let me know if you had this fall frame, what would go in the center. And this will finish up our card. So I appreciate you watching. I always appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.